So way back 2015, I started a new hobby. Good day, card collectors and tabletop gamers alike. Today I'll be showing you a bit different. So this is one of the other hobbies that I have, aside from playing Magic the Gathering and also collecting a lot of card stuff, comic books. So way back in 2015, I started this hobby. I was working back then on a side project, and along the way home, I always pass by this mall. So one time that I went there, I happened to pass by a small kiosk that was selling this 164 DieCast cars. So I looked into the baskets and selected around 10 pieces for them. My first intention was actually to buy some 10 pieces or so to give to my son back home for him to play with his other toys and stuff. But eventually when I came back, when I went to my apartment building that I was living during that time, I was inspecting these cars, so it got me interested. And actually those 10 cars that I first bought, I put it in the box and kept it for myself. Eventually I went back to the same store 2 or 3 days after, and I bought another 10 sets of loose diecast cars, and those are the ones that I gave to my son. So that was the time that I started collecting Hotwheels or diecast, from the 164 scales to the 124 scales to the 118 scales. Some of ranging from Hotwheels, Matchbox, Maisto, Jada. So those are the brands that have good diecast cars in them. Greenlight. Okay, but this one, this is actually, I printed this out of the mainline catalog on the internet. I was having a hard time keeping up with checking with the internet on the cars that were available during that time. So like I said, I started 2015, and so I printed those mainline catalog from way back 2 years, from 2013 up to the latest then, which was 2015. My reason for this is that back then I have no particular car or make or model that I was really into. So a good friend who was into this collecting for a long time told me that I should focus on 1, 2, 3 or some specific models. I don't have to buy everything. I got into looking for particular models. So what are available during this year, what were available the last year and the year before that, and what are the plans for the next few years. So when I printed this, it was sort of a guide that I can bring with me together with some of my documents even while I'm at work, so that I can open it during rest or break times, or during long hour drives from the work to way back home. So the thing is, the purpose of this actually is to give me a good overview of the last 3 years of the releases. Eventually, when my tenure on the project ended, I went back to the city and got in touch with a group of Facebook enthusiasts, diecast collector enthusiasts, from the forums that I read. So what's listed here actually are the regular releases. These are subsets actually, like the X-Racers, Nightstorm, see, Hot Wheels Workshop, all subsets under Hot Wheels Workshop All-Stars. So like the Muscle Mania, those are actually muscle cars. Not all of them are actually real cars, and as we know, there are fantasy cars included in this, but most of them, Muscle Mania, are actually real cars. And so I go now to the 2015 Hot Wheels. So like the last year, they still have this City Works, their Performance. I have a separate print also of what we call the chase sets, which are called the treasure hunts. Now the treasure hunts are similar cars, a special symbol that is stamped on the body of the car. You first notice this if and you look at the back of the board, the cardboard. So you have to do a little shape so that you can see the tempo, that the symbol that is printed on that. And if you haven't seen it yet on the car, printed on that as a tempo on the car. So those are the treasure hunts. There is another version of the chase set, which is called the Super Treasure Hunts. The Super Treasure Hunts still has this logo printed on the back of the card, but the tempo on the car is actually, instead of this, there's a letter that is T and H printed instead of this logo. And the difference is that on the paint, it's much more shinier. It's called candy coating, a sort of metallic kind of painting. And the tires are actually rubber. It's called rubber tires instead of the usual plastic wheels. From that point forward, 2015, I got hooked. I got into a lot of swap meets, and I went hunting with other friends on some stores. That if you're trying to find those hard to find treasure hunts and super treasure hunts, you have to go there, and because mostly in the malls or in the major stores that are selling this, you will be hard pressed to find one of the treasure hunts or the super treasure, especially the super treasure hunts, that is still on the peg at the first day of release. Even some of the special cars, the normal lines, but are deemed special, like this one. This is actually the Treasure Hunt series. Actually, it's printed also here. The Treasure Hunt series, which is one of those which is very, very sought after. Even the normal ones, which is the same paint job, it's like this one, except for the rubber tires and the normal paint scheme. So basically, that's all about it, about this catalog that I've printed. I was quite surprised when I opened some of my old work files. I happened to find this. Mattel also produces the Barbies for the dolls, and these are the lines for the boys, which is the DieCast cars. So upon finding this, I decided that I'll be keeping it as part of my collection, my personal collection. Who knows? When my son grows up and he wanted to look at his dad's old collection, I'll be happy to show him this. Thank you.